selling them on eBay. You might win occasionally doing that. And I've had a little bit of luck offering a salesperson that is selling the timeshares still on that site, selling the new ones, offering them a double commission and sell the timeshare cheap. And so talk to the sales manager there and say, this unit is selling for, you guys are selling it for $17,000. I'll sell it for $10,000, and you guys make $500 commission. I'll pay you $1,000 commission at $10,000. And then you get some money out of it, but you got the best marketing arm possible to help you get it sold, which is the on-site sales team. So either the on-site sales team with a bribe with a low price and a bribe with a high commission, or eBay, or donate it to a charity.
For more straight talk on life and money, go to DaveRamsey.com.
Is your smartphone naked? It is if it doesn't have the iHeartRadio app on. With the iHeartRadio app, your smartphone can get 1,500 live radio stations. It can make custom music stations. It can even use the Perfect For feature. Perfect for any activity. But without the iHeartRadio app, your smartphone is just, naked. Dress it up. Download the free app now at iHeartRadio.com. iHeartRadio is now available on Roku.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. At the Vatican today, Pope Francis celebrating his first Palm Sunday Mass as the new pontiff. Thousands gathering at St. Peter's Square for the start of Holy Week. President Obama back in Washington from his mini trip, but Secretary of State John Kerry is still there.
Kerry is going to continue to travel throughout the region, working on diplomatic solutions to a host of vexing problems. Iran, Syria, the future of Iraq, the Arab Spring turmoil, and, of course, the Israeli-Palestinian dilemma.
Fox Radio's Mike Makowitz, another March Madness bracket buster.
Will do it. Wichita State knocks off the #1 team in the country, and the Shockers dancing to the Sweet 16.
The call on TNT, courtesy of NCAA Productions. Gonzaga loses by 6. 12 seed Oregon tops 4 seed St. Louis. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast. Cloudy skies today with a high of 39. Northeast winds 10 to 20. It'll stay cloudy tonight, a low of 29 with northeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. It'll start off mostly cloudy tomorrow, then a chance of snow showers later in the day, a high of 39. And it looks like snow showers are possible on Tuesday as well, a high of 38. Looking ahead to Wednesday, once again, snow showers at times with a high of 38. News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dadgum.
And good morning, Muskegon. This is Eye on Muskegon, and I'm Jim Riley, your host for this community conversation. I'm here in Muskegon's Clear Channel Studios with my friend and engineer, the inimitable Oscar Osbo, who was...
I was waiting for you to say something.
Inimitable.
I
think I said that before, too. Oscar Osbo. And again, helping us out in studio is a columnist, mother, commentator, and all-around smart woman of West Michigan, Tammy Derouin.
Good morning.
And Tammy, I've finally gotten to the point where I don't have to phonetically write out the pronunciation of your name, so it's a significant jump for me.
All right.
Hey, we are a phone-in show. We keep talking about this, and I'm a little disappointed we don't get as many phone calls as we'd like. But we're going to give another opportunity, as we always do on Sundays, to call in.
Would you give an opportunity to talk, or?
No, just call in, then we'll hang up.
Okay.
Which is typically the way you've been handling it in the past there, Oscar.
Yeah, I know.
But we're going to try to change that.
He's light.
And that number is 231-830-3109. And we do want to hear your comments, and certainly your praise is what we're really mostly looking for. One of the things I do like to start out with is a quote, and this is a Thomas Jefferson quote, and I think we may have mentioned this last week, but I think it's really important to understand because this is happening more and more and more. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give it to those who would not." Now, I think it's a fair bet that many, and perhaps most of those who are not working, those who are in fact living and existing their lives, in some cases their entire lives, on government largesse, many of those would like to be off of it. But quite a few would not like to be off, and even more so, those folks who are getting various subsidies. Maybe they've got retirement, but they're still getting their bridge cards and their subsidized, well, of course, they're subsidized insurance and they're subsidized this and that. And the problem, of course, is that people who do produce, I just see that France just backed off of its 75% tax on the wealthy.
Did.
As the wealthy said, hey, let's see, bonjour, not bonjour, à demain. They said goodbye, which à demain doesn't mean that. But anyway.
Oui.
Yeah, there we go. No is what they said. But there's an interesting story in today's M Live, which I think is emblematic of the problems that we face here. And it's said apparently there's a grocery store, and you got to love the name of the grocery store. It's really more of a fast food kind of, or a convenience store. Sam's Drink All on Getty Street. Gotta love that. And they had a sign on their window which said, spend $50 on a grocery purchase using your EBT or WIC program and get $5 store credit, which of course you could use for anything, which might even include alcohol or who knows.
MD 2020, baby. Yeah, there you go.
Well, exactly. And well, the interesting thing here is the way the article is written. It said the sign had raised concerns for customers who felt this would reinforce negative stereotypes about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's SNAP, which apparently is now what they're calling food stamps. But it would reinforce negative stereotypes and might even encourage some to abuse the system. What a shocker.
Oh.
What a shocker. So this is the way the article is written. A spokesman for the USDA comes out and says, the USDA works very closely with our retail and state partners to maintain the integrity of the program, which we know. I mean, anybody who's known anybody who's got the bridge cards knows the absolute fraud that's involved, and anyone who's stood behind somebody who's buying things at a Myers or a Sam's Drink All. You can imagine all the healthy foods you're going to get at Sam's Drink All.
You have to spend $100 just to get a pack of cigarettes.
Well, that's right, and I'm sure that money's available, or at least it was. But now they've taken away the innovative concepts that the good folks at Sam's Drink All have come up with, and again, this I love. This is the final little phrase here. The USDA encourages SNAP participants to make healthy food purchases with their benefits consistent with the dietary guidelines for Americans. We work with our retail partners to reinforce healthy eating choices and work to educate SNAP participants on how to make healthy food purchases on a limited budget. Now, you can be sure that they get all of those wonderful promises at Sam's Drink All, plus $5 if you spend $50 there. Well, you don't get the $5 anymore at Sam's Drink All, but you do get all of these benefits consistent with the dietary guidelines for Americans that we're all so fond of referring to when we plan our daily food binge.
Our obese.
Well, it's obese or not, you got to eat, and you got to drink, and you got to have your cigarettes, apparently, because in Muskegon County, a new study. Don't you love these new studies?
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, and Oscar, tell me if I'm wrong on this thing, but all these studies are free, right? We don't have to pay for all these studies that we get. There's some study god out there with the ability to create them.
You do all the studies, don't you? They just call you and you just go to Google and
I can Google, but I may study. I do my own studies, which are free. Sadly, that's an unfortunate. Now that I think about it, I need some kind of a grant for my.
Just another example of
I could be
tax dollars at work.
Yes, exactly. And then actually that would shut me up if the government would start subsidizing me. I would in fact.
I'm sure Bob's going to start thinking of something right now.
I would think that there are certain county commissioners that would guys, that'll work. Send money.
Send money, you'll shut them up.
There we go. But in a devastating report that reports that Muskegon County is now 69th out of 80 some counties in the state of Michigan in terms of health rankings, and that's a fall from 63 to 69, which is about, and I can do this in my head, about an 8% collapse, plummet.
That's why they should hire you.
Well, they ought to, again, and the number here is to 231-830-3109 if you're inclined to send money.
Yes, send money.
Or EyeOnMuskegon.com. Or just send me a bridge card, and I'll get that extra $5 for my $50.
Only vegetables and fruit, though, right?
That's right. Yeah, you got to think that Sam's Drink Hall is really got the great produce and the fresh beef.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring
it's
this
all
up
fermented, but
well, it may be that's true. I mean, who says potatoes can't taste like vodka?
Right. That's
it eliminates the chewing process.
And a lot of folks out there, I'm sure, have got teeth problems, and straight vodka. Get your potato a day. That may work on there. But back to my in-depth analysis of this. It's not so much that Muskegon has dropped from 63 to 69th. And, of course, this is in the face of a couple years ago, both the county and, I believe, the Rotary and some other groups have said, we're going to fix this. But the facts are that if you have 82 counties in the state, aren't some of them going to be at the bottom? I mean, isn't by every definition the fact that 20% of every county, no matter how hard we work, no matter how Schwarzeneggian or Twiggy-ish or whoever is the hot young body today, no matter if everybody is in that position.
Wow, you use those two for...
I know. Well, we have an older,
going back a few years.
Audience. We do have an older audience.
Twiggy from the 60s and
I was really searching... Okay, Bieber. Justin Bieber. As the President Herbert Walker Bush says, the Beeb. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Beeb.
You're a Beeb fan. Yeah.
All right, well,
would you like to be a Bieber too?
A little, this is going to require a little more show prep now to come up with more hip. I guess even hip's a bad word, but more hip examples of those folks who are trim. But the facts are that 20% of our population, of our counties, will always be in the bottom 20%.
Correct.
I mean, come on, is that right?
That's very true. Yes.
Shouldn't every county be above average? Isn't that the ultimate goal?
Yep.
What do you think, Oscar?
Well, I think so, yeah. But, I mean, I think you're missing the point here. But anyway.
Well, I'm not so sure I am, because the answer to all of these, you are in the bottom 20%, or you're not even average. I mean, as opposed to above average. The answer has always been that if you just give us some money, some more money, we'll fix it. And how's that worked out for you?
That doesn't work.
Well, it hasn't. Maybe it will at some point down the road. But maybe, as Oscar knows, in my new svelte body here, I've been going to Honey Bunch, and I've been going to Weight Watchers.
Speak about your flexible pants, but anyway,
I have regular person pants. As Oscar's suggesting that I might get special old people pants. I do not have any plans for old people pants.
Line. Come on.
But we've been going to Weight Watchers. That works. You pay your own money. Mm-hmm. You get weighed in every week. You go to a meeting. You talk with other folks. That works. None of the other programs. Matter of fact, what really disappoints me is that if you talk to most physicians here in Muskegon County, they will tell you that, in fact, about the only thing that they've ever seen that has long-lasting effects is Weight Watchers or a program similar to it.
You know what was a big awakening for me on that subject was when I looked at my own list. Now the doctor's offices give you a list online as far as what they have down for you and your problems, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it did say that I followed no health regimen as far as and it's like, well, okay, that's kind of an awakening. It's time to just, I'm supposed to be 1,700 calories a day, and I'm sure I'm a little bit above that. But
but you're interested, and you're looking, and it helps to look at what you're doing personally.
Yeah, exactly. So that way you can change your style a little bit.
But I think it's a personal responsibility. It's not for the government to come in and regulate.
Well, I would 100% agree. It seems to me that the government, if they're so inclined, can do some things. For instance, requiring that the calories and fat content and things of that sort maybe be on food is one area. But as we know in New York, and we know that the govern maniacs out there, they want to have a whole army of folks that are checking into your house and how much broccoli you're eating and how much broccoli you're throwing out. So, but this is again using statistics to pervert the ultimate reality, as if that being 69th is good, bad, or otherwise, and if giving more money to those folks is going to change it. But hey, in keeping with our theme here of vegetables, there was vegetables. Well,
V8 juice with your vodka. Okay, I got
V8 the V8 and potato. Yeah. But there was a big set of forums this past week about moving the farmers market, and of course, some of the people who were against the move were against it because of what they called economic justice, taking a successful operation, I guess you would call this, the farmers market, out of its current location out there in Jackson Hill and moving it into downtown Muskegon. And of course, one of the reasons behind their angst at having the market moved is all of the fresh vegetables and all of the fruit that is consumed by the folks within walking distance that will not be consumed if they have to walk, what is it, about a half a mile to the other area. And that seems to have some validity with some people, and of course the term economic justice comes into play. But again, I have a little spin on this. The reason I bring it up is we have been told that this move is going to be absolutely free, in big letters, F-R-E-E. It's going to be free to the residents and the taxpayers of the city of Muskegon and the city of Muskegon, or the county of Muskegon. But at this open hearing, where almost everybody was in support of the move, by the way. If you don't like the way things are going, folks, you might try attending some of these events, because if I was an elected official and I listened to the people speak and everybody was in support, I might be inclined to be in support. But on one hand, they stated, you can see this on the video, which is at EyeOnMuskegon.com, they stated that it was not going to cost anything. And then Mary Valentine and Cindy, the gal who's the head of the Chamber of Commerce, Cindy Larson, both got up and said, "Oh, we need more money." And Mary said, "I'm going to work hard to get monies from the state and the feds and blah blah blah." So on one hand, they're promising it's free. On the other hand, they're telling us they desperately need money. And on the other hand, those folks who are using that very powerful word today, economic justice, are being promised that they will be compensated in some manner, in some way, if this moves. So we'll be back after this break, and we'll talk about all sorts of other interesting things.
It's the sale Michigan's been waiting for.
It's been extended. The biggest sale in Michigan.
Benton's giant 30th anniversary sale. Both sides of Henry Street are packed wall to wall with vehicles. And right now, get up to 30% off your new car. Trade-in values are at an all-time record high. Buy low and sell high. Get up to 30% off your new car. 0% financing and up to $10,000 in discounts and more. Hurry. This sale ends March 30th. Right now, get a 2013 Chevy Silverado, only $198 a month. Plus 2 years free maintenance, or a 2013 Chevy Cruze, only $79 a month. A huge selection of Chevy Malibus at $109 per month, and Chevy Equinox just $119 a month. We want and need your trade, and values are at record high levels. Plus, get up to 30% off the price of your new vehicle. Every vehicle sold is backed by the Benton low price guarantee. It's where Michigan shops. Benton, both sides of Henry Street, Muskegon. Hurry, this sale ends March 30th.
24,000 children die every day from preventable causes. My name is Lawrence Fishburne, and I believe that number should be zero. Believe in zero.
Join the effort. Visit UNICEFUSA.org.
I
see this ad on TV. I call, they told me to stop paying my bills, stop talking to my creditors, they'd take care of everything.
I gave them thousands, but most of it went to their fees.
Getting out of debt isn't easy. Talk to your creditors directly or visit debtadvice.org. Real solutions for real people. This has been a public service message.
I knew I had a problem.
Eating and eating.
I felt so alone.
We understand. We're Overeaters Anonymous, and we have helped thousands of people just like you. Start living the life you deserve. Find us on the web at oa.org.
Army Specialist Andrew Pike was paralyzed by a sniper while serving in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get the auto, housing, and vocational benefits he earned. You can help our paralyzed veterans. Visit
News Talk 1090 is the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you
And EyeOnMuskegon is back on the Sunday morning. Tammy Derouin, Oscar Osbo, and your cuddly, lovable little laid-back host, Jim Riley.
With a new haircut.
With a new haircut. That's
and
right.
special jeans.
Got myself a haircut and new jeans yesterday. Myers had a big sale on jeans. So
I'm not going to let you off on that. I had to pick on you on those. I'm sorry.
I don't got grandpa pants yet. Hey, by the way, happy Palm Sunday to those of you who are celebrating Palm Sunday. Holy Week begins today. Also, and it's perfect, it makes perfect sense, on this day in history, in 1958, Elvis Presley was inducted into the U.S. Army, and that was a big deal if you were around in 58 because Elvis was a young guy, and he went into the Army.
Well, I thought that might have been the year that he got his honorary drug-free award from President Nixon or something. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, he did. I do recall that. That was before,
fight against drugs.
That was before he blew out of his one-piece outfit there in Vegas. Hey, also, the Exxon Valdez ran aground this day in history back in '89. And, of course, much like the British petroleum disaster in the Gulf a couple years ago, these were events that we were told, would be the doom, the end of the world. Millions of species wiped out for eternity, and on and on and on. These are awful events. Needless to say, very critically expensive events for the companies involved, and but not nearly the cataclysmic disasters that were promised. Certainly nothing comparison to what communism has done to countries over time, and what socialism appears to be now doing to Europe. Yes, there are things worse than oil. The interesting thing to me about oil is and how awful it is. And if you've ever seen the globs of oil on a beach, I mean, it's not a nice thing. You certainly don't want to step in it. Most of the oil that you see that globs up on the beach has come from the bottom of the ocean. Oil is in the earth.
Yes.
It bubbles up. Right. Oil isn't like an asteroid. Oil is something that is very very natural. That's geez, petunia.
Kind of like gas, but anyway.
They're kind of like gas. Hey, another couple of things, and I found this interesting. Muskegon Community College faculty just got a new contract, and of course, this is a combination of union and management getting together in many cases to lock the employees into contracts just to get into just to beat the deadline for locking for forcing employees to be into unions. And I found that interesting because at the same time that Muskegon Community College is locking their employees into being unions. In other words, being forced to pay union dues and probably getting a significant, matter of fact, they even announced that they were getting a significant raises across the board. They're saying that they don't have enough money to, in fact, pay for this new science development that they want to put together, and we will be facing another, after it was just voted down, we will be facing another millage, so that the rest of us who have extra money in our pockets will be able to pay for an additional expansion at MCC. And this is in the face of Baker College, which does not receive county money, does not receive state money, does not receive federal money. Baker College just announced a new building, $8.5 million, something in that neighborhood.
11 million,
maybe $11 million. And they're paying cash for it. So maybe there's some kind of connection between unions and massive pay increases and the need for a new building, millage to pay for the building, as opposed to to Baker College, which doesn't seem to have those kind of problems. I'm not anti-MCC, but I'm certainly anti-MCC coming in and telling us and using taxpayer-funded money to put on forums to tell us all the goods of this new spending,
and they won't even put you on their TV station. What's up with that?
They won't even put me on their TV station, but they won't even allow, even though they're using federal, state, and county money to point out all the positives, they're not allowing any negatives to be put out using that state, federal, and county money. So,
well, at least we got a lot more union members out there.
Well, apparently not more, but at least they're going to be nicely compensated. Interestingly, the maximum salary for someone with a master's degree over there is going to be now almost $86,000 a year. And that does not, of course, include the benefits.
Well, those pants that you bought at Myers, that's a union wage store.
Might not be.
No, it is.
Oh, you mean it? Myers is union. You're right. Yes, and I'm not anti-union in any way. I think those folks who get together and want to be in a union ought to have that right. But those folks who would just soon not should not be forced.
Well, I have to say, it's funny you bring that up, because 100 years ago, when I worked for Myers in between radio gigs, that was the one thing they said to me. They said, you have to join the union. And I said I didn't want to. And they said, well, then you don't want to work here. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you join the union.
Well, there is the issue that's going on right now where government employees, now think about this, government employees in the state of Michigan, state employees, county and city, are now suing to say that they are not, should not be covered under the forced unionization law, which is what Right to Work says. Wait a minute, if we don't want to be under this, we shouldn't have to be under it. They're saying, no, the rules are for little people. It's the Leona-Helmsley laws. Laws are for little people. Paying taxes are for little people. We, with the big connections with the unions and with the big connections with the lobbyists and the Democrat, in this case, elected officials, we should not be under the same rules that the rest of us must be under. So, hey, there was a gun control, the gun violence seminar in Grand Haven this past week, and it was kind of interesting. In that it was nicely done. They even had food. They had big financial support because of the food spread was exquisite from the American Bar Association and a bunch of other kind of the regular folks you'd expect that are generally anti-gun. But it was filled with about half pro-gun and half anti-gun people. It was nicely done. But what I noticed and what is so disappointing is they continued to repeat the lies about guns and gun violence. They continued to confuse automatic weapons, machine guns, which are illegal in the United States and have been for decades, automatic weapons with semi-automatic weapons. They use the term assault rifle or assault weapon, which, of course, in its real incarnation is an automatic weapon with the 22s that look scary to liberals. They use, and interestingly, a woman who was a major force a pediatrician was telling us that her definition of children was up to 21 years old. So they create these false facts. And after we got news coming up here. After the news, we will come back and we'll revisit the false facts of guns and any number of other issues. We'll be right back, folks.
Oh, don't you love me sometime?
I'm John Leslie, and I lost 123 pounds, and I've kept it off, thanks to the John Morgan Hypnosis Seminar. Lou Mayhew attended a session, and he quit smoking forever.
I was a non-smoker when I walked out of there.
A John Morgan hypnotist will be here soon. Call 800-735-6907. Hypnosis is safe, fun, and effective. You can lose weight and keep it off, or stop smoking forever.
I'm not quite sure what the effect was, but I know the effect was tremendous.
Join John Morgan hypnotist Mark Pasnek Thursday, March 28th at the Shoreline Inn and Conference Center, adjacent to the Lake House Restaurant in Muskegon. Smoking cessation is at 6 p.m., weight loss at 8 p.m. Call 800-735-6907 or visit johnmorganseminars.com. Sessions are affordable at $59.95.
After about the third week of not smoking, I realized that I could afford a new truck. I was so confident that I wouldn't smoke again that I actually went out and bought one.
Call 800-735-6907 or visit johnmorganseminars.com. That's johnmorganseminars.com.
The Talk of Muskegon is News Talk 1090 WKBZ Muskegon and heard 24 hours a day on WOOD HD2 Muskegon.
What did they do? What did they do to my city? I pushed Michael Yu away from the binoculars and took a look. Hey! In the streets below, traffic had stopped. Pedestrians were lying on sidewalks and curled up in doorways. There was no sign of violence, no wrecks, nothing like that. It was as if the people in New York had simply decided to stop whatever they were doing and pass out. Ice coated my stomach. A line from the prophecy rang in my ears.
And see the world in endless sleep.
Not dead. He has put the entire island of Manhattan to sleep. The invasion has started. To find out what happens next, read Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. Explore new worlds and check out more cool books at your local library and visit read.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Cold steel, rough concrete, tough plastic, synthetics. Today's world is enough to make us lose our real sense of touch and feel hundreds of miles away from nature. Luckily, that's not the case. There are places all around where you can get in touch with nature. At the National Wildlife Refuges. Here you can experience the warm, inviting touch of nature at every turn. Feel the smooth, gentle bark of a white birch tree on your fingertips. Walk barefoot on the smooth, water-worn river stones. Feel the soft moss lining a towering wall of limestone. When you feel these things, you're feeling the world the way we found it. With over 500 refuges across America, you don't have to go far to make a special connection with nature. Learn more at fws.gov/refuges. That's fws.gov/refuges.
Hi, my name's Bob.
Hi, Bob.
So I see this ad on TV. Says I can reduce my debt by 50%. So I call. They told me to stop paying my bills, stop talking to my creditors. It didn't seem right, but they said they'd take care of everything.
I gave them thousands of dollars, but most of it went to their fees.
Getting out of debt is neither quick nor easy. There are those who will tell you anything just to win your trust.
Sounded perfect. I did everything they told me to do.
They never paid my creditors. They didn't even contact them.
Turns out I'm even more in debt because the fees and the interest on my cards kept piling up.
Bad advice from so-called experts can make your financial situation worse.
And the bank turned me down for a mortgage. And that's when I realized my credit was shot. I should have gone straight to my creditors to begin with.
There is a better way to get help. Talk to your creditors directly, or to find a nonprofit agency near you, visit debtadvice.org. Debtadvice.org. Real solutions for real people. This has been a public service message.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast. Cloudy skies today with a high of 39. Northeast winds 10 to 20. It'll stay cloudy tonight, a low of 29 with northeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. It'll start off mostly cloudy tomorrow, then a chance of snow showers later in the day, a high of 39. And it looks like snow showers are possible on Tuesday as well, a high of 38. Looking ahead to Wednesday, once again, snow showers at times with a high of 38. News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
Army Specialist Andrew Pike became paralyzed while serving in Iraq.
My injury was a gunshot wound to the left abdomen from a sniper.
My first contact with paralyzed veterans was in Walter Reed.
Paralyzed Veterans National Service Officer Michael Killen.
We try to reassure them what benefits are out there, try to educate them, and take some of that stress away from them.
Right now I'm going back to school to earn a degree, and I'm just spending time with my wife and child.
You can help our paralyzed veterans. Visit pva.org.
Muskegon, News Talk 1090, WKBZ.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dadgum.
And it's the Palm Sunday version of EyeOnMuskegon. Tammy Derouin.
Oh, I don't know about that one, but okay.
And Jim Riley, that's right, the Palm Sunday version. And to those our Jewish friends out there, tomorrow is the beginning of Passover. So good thoughts to you tomorrow. We were talking a little bit about, before the break, just about this, the gun control issue. And again, I'm not so interested in, are guns good, bad, or otherwise, but my experience in life has been that if somebody distorts the facts to you, or lies to you, which is really what a distortion of the facts is, it's because they don't want you to know the true facts. And I recall I was anti-gun for many, many years because I'd heard a statistic which turned out to be accurate, but maybe not, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. And the statistic was that more people are killed with guns in their own home than are bad guys killed in their own home. So in other words,
I heard that too.
If you've got a gun in your home, you are more likely to have someone within that house killed than to kill a bad guy who's breaking in or in some manner trying to annoy you in some way. And that made a lot of sense to me. I said, well, golly, if it's going to be more dangerous to have a gun, then why the heck should we have them? Well, the reality was that when if you looked at those statistics, there were a whole bunch of, it was an accurate statistic, but there are a whole bunch of additional statistics that mattered. Number one, over 2/3 of the people who were killed, and this is killed now, in home gun incidents, were suicides. So they weren't the mistake. They weren't like the 7-year-old shooting his 3-year-old sister. As a matter of fact, that is so rare that when it happens in the United States, it's front page news throughout the world. Right. All right, it does not happen. And we just had a situation not long ago here in Michigan, within the last week or two, where a police officer, interestingly, had let his gun be available to one of the youngsters in his home, and that youngster was killed. But that's a very rare event. It gets a lot of publicity. So, number one, the people in your home who do get killed tend to be suicides. And the far more interesting thing is, it's very rare that when someone is trying to break into your home, you're going to kill them. And I don't know about you, but if someone's pounding on my door in the middle of the night, or I hear broken glass, even if I have a gun, I'm going to be shaking like a leaf in there. Right. That's when you wake up, the adrenaline runs. But what guns do, they don't necessarily kill the bad guys, although that does happen quite often. People are able to protect themselves, their families, and their businesses from all sorts of bad guys by killing them. That does happen. But more often than not, you either wound them or you miss, but they run out the door.
Yes. That's a deterrent.
It's the deterrent effect of knowing that person in the home has the gun, or even more so the deterrent effect of being fearful that person might have a gun in the home, and instead of going into that home, going into another one. And maybe this accounts for why police stations aren't robbed, why gun shops typically are not robbed. They may be burgled in hopes to get in there in the middle of the night, but people typically do not attack folks who can easily fight back. And I heard something at this event in Grand Haven, and I meant to confirm it, but apparently one of these movie theater, the movie theater murderer guy, I think he was in Colorado, went into the Batman movie, and he killed a whole bunch of people. I'm not sure what state that was in, but apparently there were 2 or 3 other movie theaters that were closer than the theater that he went to, but they had open carry, or apparently they allowed people to have guns in them, and the one that he went to had a big sign saying no guns allowed. So I guess
it makes you vulnerable. because the law-abiding citizen isn't going to have the gun.
Well, it makes you, and then lets the bad guy know
exactly
that even if you are someone who's got a carry permit, or even if you are someone who's interested in self-protection, that you're not allowed to do it in that area. And that's why, I mean, we know how successful drug-free zones have been, school zones in our country, and we certainly know how gun-free zones have protected young people. It's a false fact, but time and again we're told these facts that spread around, and certainly today with the internet, and I like to go to my liberal friends on Facebook and to go to liberal sites to see how these facts are pushed around. And there's another one that's been pushed very heavily, and that is, especially now because we have the likelihood of a new Walmart up in the Whitehall area. That was
I'll never have to leave, and I can wear my jogging pants now. So.
Well, and you can, and you'll fit right in there. As a matter of fact, you ought to get some skin-tight jogging pants that pull up to your knees. That would make you even...
My bulge can hang over. It'd be great.
Yes.
I can have my plumber outfit on.
Are you a plumber, or are you happy to see me? That's what we'll expect to have in the Whitehall Walmart. But the good folks at MLive are really just dancing ever so slowly about this new Walmart, because there are the main reason, of course, is because Walmart is non-union. Walmart, which, by the way, statistically, there have been any number of even government reports that the folks at Walmart get the same pay, the same benefits of just about anybody else. Matter of fact, I think the pay is, in Michigan anyway, the Walmart employees get paid a little bit more than in comparable stores like in Myers and all. And then that's before you subtract out the union dues.
Yes.
But and a good measure is because the unions, when union labor is required, as it currently is, and will change here in Michigan shortly, it's not just the wages, it's the work rules. And that's what really is the problem if you talk to any businesses who have to deal with unions. The labor and wages are an issue, but not necessarily the biggest issue. It's the work rules. I'm an electrician. I fix this widget. No, I'm a plumber. I fix it. And then, as I've known, my friends have been plant managers before the whole plant shuts down while the two labor organizations decide whose job it is to fix it. But anyway, there's great trepidation over this Walmart coming into town. And now there are statistics going around, and I saw one that really knocked me on my behind, which is proof that not only do the Walmarts, when they come into town, decimate the community, but it's proof that they decimate it for decades. Well, the interesting thing about it is that this report that I've seen, and it says what it really costs when a Walmart comes to town, the research was done by a Northwest community group. That's it. That's the documentation we got. It estimates that one Walmart store, which is set to open, and this is in the state of Washington, will decrease the community's economic output over 20 years by an estimated $13 million. Which over 20 years, if you think about it, is hardly anything. They really should have done over like 2,000 years. It would have been in the trillions. And it also estimates Walmart will cost the community an additional $14 million in lost wages over the next 20 years. Now, what they do not mention, and Walmart, I think, could do a better job advertising this. I go to the Walmart in Norton Shores. That Walmart has an inordinate number of minority shoppers of all ilk, however you want to define minority. But it's pretty clear from the way that they dress and the kind of vehicles that they drive and the buses that stop that they're not the wealthiest folks here in Muskegon County. They're shopping there. They're making their own decisions because they believe that they're getting good value and likely saving money. I shop at Meijer, I shop at Walmart, and it's a choice that we all make. But nothing is said when you hear these statistics about the damage, the terrible damage that Walmart does. By the way, it's the largest employer in the United States. Did you know that?
Right.
Walmart is the largest outside the government. Outside of the government. But is the largest employer in the country. But they save people, and in particular poor people, billions of dollars a year. I'm shocked when I go in. I just the furniture. I mean, some of the little furniture things, and it's amazing what our system. Which, by the way, which I would say includes Myers and others, does not have government protection. It's what we call capitalism.
Exactly. Yes.
Anyway, so there are statistics out there that are demagoguing the fact that there's going to be a new Walmart. Certainly, some of the stores are going to disappear.
Mom and pops have been something kind of popular in the White Lake area.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, and I don't think they could. Well, for instance, the Shopko, which isn't a mom or pop, but a Shopko just moved in over there, took over Pomaida because Pomaida couldn't make it.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be close to where the Walmarts is being built. I don't see how they're going to be able to survive.
And they may or may not, but who will make that decision? It'll be the customers, the citizens, the shoppers, as opposed to certain places, like in Washington, D.C. and some other places where they've said, no, Walmart's not allowed. Chicago, I don't believe there's any Walmarts allowed, at least until recently, in the city of Chicago. It's the citizens who make those decisions. If a Walmart came in and people said, hey, I don't like you, they belly up.
But that's the thing about the citizens, too. The citizens, I think a lot of people that are complaining are the people that, Whitehall, White Lake is their little piece of heaven. That's kind of the way it is. I mean, if you live in the White Lake area, it is kind of like your little piece of heaven. And, even
but
though
wouldn't they then
tourists,
not support it? Wouldn't they not support What about
That's what I would think. Yeah, you would think so. I've heard both sides, though.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of people that aren't going to go to Walmart.
It takes the uniqueness away from a small community.
It does. Yeah.
Well, it does and it doesn't. There's where's the big Walmart down there? It's near on 31 South. It's right by South Haven, I believe it is. South Haven has a wonderful little town, and the downtown is thrived. Certainly, downtown Grand Haven has thrived. It's got a Walmart just at the end of the road almost. Muskegon it's died long before Walmart gave any.
That's the only thing that still works over there in Sherman.
But
I
again,
think, is Walmart. Walmart and Lowe's.
Well,
I think that's it.
I'm coming to a point here, which not surprisingly is a long way around. At the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners meeting on Thursday, they had three committee meetings, one of which was the Transportation Committee. Now, there's new talk, apparently, because the federal government, state government, the county government has so much extra money, they're going to build still working to get a brand new big bus station, which apparently is a done deal. It's just a question of when the money's going to come. We're going to get a new big bus station again because there's just too much extra money around. By the way, just as an aside, the move of the farmers market is a done deal.
Yeah,
there will be. It's moving.
Well, the Walmart is too. That's a done deal.
Well, the Walmart's a done deal, but the folks who are talking about the public forums about the farmers market keep telling us, well, we're going to be listening to what the people have to say, and then we'll make a decision. It's a done deal.
Well, see, the good thing about Walmart for me though is I'll never have to come to Muskegon again, except for I can call in for your show.
To some folks that would be a benefit, but let me tell you, there is an additional benefit that you may not be aware of, but it most certainly ruffled the feathers of our betters on the Muskegon County Board of Commission board. Walmart now has its own little bus system.
Oh, really?
I was unaware of this. As a matter of fact, Commissioner Ben Cross, if you read his body language and his verbiage correctly, was quite unhappy with the fact that Walmart has a free bus that is traveling around. Apparently, it's in some type of a test. It's traveling around certain places in Muskegon. Matter of fact, there was a suggestion that the fact that it is going to what might be considered the least affluent portions of our county, that in some way the term was used was profiling. Clearly, there are people that are representing us that are on our pay, that are getting the average between $40,000 and $45,000 a year in compensation from the taxpayer on the county board, these county commissioners, that are not so interested in good things being available to the citizens of Muskegon if it's not provided by the county and it's not driven by union labor. Right. If a free bus system's out there, matter of fact, the questions were, is this legal? Can they do it? And I believe it was the
Can they
county
do it? It's private enterprise here, and if it works, it works, and that's, to me, is a lot better than taking money from the government.
Well,
the government has no control then. So.
It would seem to be. It would seem to be, and yet you could see that there was serious distress that this, because remember, transportation in today's world is much like food, in health insurance, so many other things. It ought to be free. The concept that you go get a cab, certainly in the city of Muskegon, where we have this very extensive bus system, which is hemorrhaging money. I believe it absolutely hemorrhages money, but they make it almost impossible for a private cab company or certainly any bus system to exist. That's a belief that anybody who would compete against that, how dare you? We know what Obamacare is. How dare you have private insurance? And anyway, that's the mindset of those that we have elected. That video, by the way, is on EyeOnMuskegon.com. You can see it. It's really, to me, enlightening and illuminating to see these folks who pretend to stand for the little people, when in fact an evil company like Walmart would provide free bus pickup. They are quite unhappy.
See, I'm in the plus for Walmart in Whitehall, even though I love Whitehall and I like my little small town atmosphere. But they're going to be moving over there towards the end of town anyway. It's going to be over there by Ramada Inn or whatever over there. So it's not really downtown Whitehall in the area. But I'm just saying, I look forward to them coming here.
If the people won't support it, it'll shut down.
Well, jobs. I think jobs are very important over there too right now. So,
well, to some, and I think to the three of us here in the room, that makes sense. Sadly, to those folks who we elect here in Muskegon County, anyway, that's not good news. And
well, going back to the busing, somebody saw a need, and they created a job.
And that's what Walmart does.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what way Walmart's known for, is to do that kind of thing.
Yes.
And we are no longer living in towns where we're walking distance from a grocery store or the hardware store. We have to travel. So somebody saw a need, they created a business. And it's sort of like these little senior cars you see around. I don't know, are those government?
Yes.
Those are, okay, well, gee, there's another opportunity out there for somebody to start a business.
There is, and if it wasn't for them daggum government folks, they're more interested in their hands in our pockets than providing services to our folks, things might be different. We're going to come back and talk about a few other things. Like, amazingly, Hillary Clinton is now, after decades and decades and decades of being anti-gay marriage, has all of a sudden seen the light just recently.
Oh, she flipped too, huh?
Yes, she flipped. So how wonderful that is. We'll be back to talk about that.
Oh, don't you love me sometime?
It's about your life and your money. It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
Is this down economy usual in life? Have we had these same times in the past, and good ones will come again? Yeah, it's just part of life. Good times do come again, and there is cycles in the economy. So it's the worst recession since the Great Depression. No, it's not. 1982 was worse. We had double-digit inflation, double-digit unemployment, and interest rates on homes were 17%.
Catch Dave weekday afternoons from 2 till 5 on News Talk 1090 WKBZ.
The Exquisite Corpse. A very unusual and completely amazing story pieced together out of so many parts that it is not possible to describe them all here, so go ahead and just start reading. The full moon lights the silver rails winding around dark mountains and over steep gorges of jagged rock and one freezing cold rushing black mountain river. I wish there was enough time to describe all of the funny twists and turns, especially the elephant clown party, that led up to now, but there isn't enough time because there is a ticking clock. And the two passengers we care most about don't know anything about it. In a sleeping berth in the third car from the end of the train are two children, 11-year-old twins who have just run away from the circus. The girl's name is Nancy, the boy's name is Joe. They have no idea that those are not their true names, though they will figure it out soon enough. To see what happens next, visit read.gov to read The Exquisite Corpse, a riveting adventure pieced together by John Shuska, Shannon Hale, Daniel Handler, and other popular authors. Explore new worlds. Read. This exciting message is brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
A message from Liam Neeson, Orlando Bloom, Lawrence Fishburne, Salma Hayek, Mia Farrow, and Téa Leoni.
They do not have to die, but they do. 24,000 children every day.
They die for reasons
we can prevent.
Like not getting enough food or medicine or clean, safe water to drink.
24,000 children every day.
But we are gaining ground. A generation ago, twice as many children were dying.
Still, 24,000 every day?
They do not have to die, but they do.
They die because they are young and vulnerable.
They die because through no fault of their own, they are poor.
24,000 children.
24,000 children.
24,000 children every day? My name is Taya Leone.
My name is Salma Hayek.
My name is Orlando Bloom.
My name is Mia Farrow.
My name is Lawrence Fishburne.
My name is Liam Neeson, and I believe that number should be 0. Believe in 0.
Join the effort. Visit unicefusa.org.
Car number 7 is pulling into the pit.
Team, I want peak performance. Let's go over my diabetes checklist.
Start taking action now for diabetes.
Medication.
Got them. And my insulin supplies.
Exercise. Check. At least 30 minutes most days. Blood sugar level? On target.
Diet?
Eating healthy.
And your A1C is under control.
Keeping your blood pressure and your cholesterol in the zone is also important.
Check. How am I doing?
Your numbers are looking good. You're good to go.
Thanks, team.
Whoa, look at number 7, racing out of the pit.
Managing diabetes, including controlling blood sugar, is a team effort. Keeping your body at its peak performance requires a plan that's right for you. Take the wheel and start taking action now for diabetes. For more information, visit standfordiabetes.org. That's standfordiabetes.org.
A public service of TCOID made possible with support from Sanofi Aventis US.
News Talk 1090 is the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you
Oh, those dadgum folks and their greedy little fingers in our pockets. Hey, this is EyeOnMuskegon, back again. Just before the break, I mentioned that Hillary Clinton had endorsed same-sex marriage. And I'm not talking about whether same-sex marriage ought to be endorsed or not, but there has been this meme, this belief in the world that those evil old country club Republicans are anti-gay marriage. And all the wonderful kumbaya Democrats have been supportive of the gay families, gay marriage for decades, and that just isn't true. Hillary Clinton, up until last week, was clearly and adamantly against gay marriage as nationally. Barack Obama, up until I believe it was last year, just prior to the election, was adamantly and clearly and forcefully against gay marriage. I don't know what the Republicans will ultimately do, but this concept that the mean old rich Republicans who would never shop at a Walmart, no, maybe they would. Oh, I don't know. God, what would they
I've
do?
seen a few Republicans in Walmart.
There we go. But they are, these bigots who are against it, and they are solely alone on this island of bigotry. This isn't the case, and I would hope at some point that they would address this issue, maybe make it a states' rights issue or what have you. But sadly, the media did report that Hillary had flipped, as you say, again, flipped again like we did last summer, and not surprisingly, given that is a kind of a congenital family trait of the Clintons to do all sorts of flipping in a variety of ways. Now that I think about it, but. No, it's just she just has come across from the dark side just this past week. So good for Hillary, and hopefully the media will.
There's so many things you could say right now, but I'll just.
I know that. Hey, here's something that's kind of interesting, and it's not going to affect probably anybody who's listening here today. But China, which of course is the world's most populous country, and I've seen some statistics, none of which I can recall at this moment, but some statistics that show that, let's say the United States has 1% of our population is genius, and that adds up to be, 3 million people. That China, because it's so many times larger than we are, they've got this enormous number of geniuses. Well, China now, and this is, they're not hiding this, but scientists are in the midst of collecting DNA samples from what they call 2,000 of the world's smartest people, and they're sequencing their entire genomes in an attempt to identify the alleles, apparently that's some genetic term, which determine human intelligence. And apparently they're not far from finding them, and when they do that, embryo screening, which you can do today for a variety of things, but embryo screening will allow parents to pick their brightest zygote and potentially bump up every generation's intelligence by 5 to 15 IQ points. And this isn't transplanting zygotes or genes. This would be from the mom and the dad, but apparently there is a belief that you can look at all the eggs and look at all the sperms and in some way pick out those that happen to have these particular things. Well, think about if the world was had IQs at a level that were 5 to 15 points higher, and this is obviously just step one, because one of the problems that I've read that with South Sahara Africa is that for a variety of reasons, primarily nutritionally, but people who are in Africa, southern Africa, I guess you'd call it, south of Egypt and all, their average IQ, as opposed to the average IQ here in the developed world in the United States, which is around 100, their average IQ is around 70, which would be considered mentally deficient here in this country. That's the average. And one of the biggest negatives to being, having a low IQ, is you tend to make poor decisions. Smart people, not always. I mean, the smartest of us out there in America tend to make any number of bad decisions, but people who are a little above average in IQ tend to make better decisions, and ultimately that translates into better lifestyles for them. This is potentially good news. I wonder if the United States is going to be doing this. Do we want smarter people, or would that in some manner be offensive? But it's being done now in the world's most populous country.
I think it's a little bit dangerous to play around with that.
Could anything go wrong? Anything possible?
Especially on Palm Sunday.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Open a history book.
Well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and whether it's good news or bad news, I imagine we're going to find out.
Most intelligent people that I know, too, would have no common sense whatsoever. So there you go. We just have a bunch of people walking around now, having with this brilliant brain, not knowing
well, is there a common sense gene? Yeah. Could you maybe fix those people?
Right.
You know,
but you're still going to have a bottom 20%, and the government's still going to want to fix those.
That's right.
You know, well, we talked about this earlier, but you're so right.
And later we'll flip back to that.
Yeah.
Well, this, it goes back to the statistical distortions that we are faced with all the time from those people who say, if you give me money, I'll fix it. And that in the United States, even with, what is it, at least $1 trillion, maybe multiple trillions of dollars in our war on poverty, we still have 20% of Americans who are below the poverty level. And people say, well, golly, we've got to get that 20% out of the poverty level. Well, the definition of the poverty level in the United States is the bottom 20%. So there is no amount of money that you're going to be able to give to the bottom 20%. It might move them out, but by the statistical
definition. Unless they all win Publishers Clearinghouse, then, they'll all be out of there somehow.
Well, but again, you still have the problem of the bottom 20%.
That's true.
And like Lake Wobegon, where the hope was that everyone, all the children would be above average, that apparently is the liberal and the big government view, because Republicans love the concept of making everybody better, no child left behind, by the way.
Yeah, that's worked.
And so no matter how much money we throw into the programs to make that 20% disappear, they will not, because mathematics does trump
So has anybody called them Hitler for wanting to do that, as far as, making the genius babies or anything like that?
Are we changing the subject already?
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to...
No, I've not heard anything, actually, somewhat, the press that I've read about this China issue is very positive.
Yeah. Well, I know it sounds positive, but I mean, doesn't that seem kind of the same mindset that Hitler had as far as making the perfect human race?
Well, he had a different way of doing it.
Yeah, a different way, but he was trying to make the perfect human race.
Well, I don't think having better people, for instance, if in fact...
And how do you define better people?
Well, I would say
you're better than me.
I would say having a country where the average IQ is 70 is bad, and in particular, if that can be addressed by better nutrition, that's one thing. If as Hitler said, which was somewhat stunningly ignorant, said, well, we will have a better country if everybody is blonde and blue eyes,
right.
And therefore we're going to kill or deport people who do not have those traits. That's not only scientifically unsupportable and stupid.
Right.
It didn't work.
I'm not saying it's really comparable, but it sounds the same. Mindset.
It has
so
that you're not good enough to be in our society.
Exactly.
Because you don't meet the IQ requirement. And there's always going to be, again, the lower 20%. You're always going to have the upper.
Well,
and those in between.
It's being done right now, so this is going to be an issue. As I say, it's not likely, certainly, to be affecting anyone who's listening and who's alive
today.
And
people with guns. I mean, people are smarter. They would know how to use guns to kill people and get away with it. So there you go. I mean, right there's a...
Well, no, wait a sec. That's true. We could have smarter bad guys, too.
Right, there you go.
There's plenty of bad people who are smart. Do we want them to be smarter?
I mean, come on.
Well, that's a good point. Well, okay, in keeping with politicians and intellectual instability, of course, this week is the beginning of March Madness, and the state of Michigan. This is a federally funded deal, but the state of Michigan has decided that they're going to have 13,000 hours worth of overtime to our police to have stop checks for drinking. Now, I don't know if that's a good idea or bad idea, but I know it's very, very expensive, and it's monies that likely would not have been spent unless the federal government decided we're going to subsidize this. But
and
again,
the government's broke.
Well, the government tells us it's broke on one hand when it says it needs money, and on the other hand, it says it's not broke when it appears to have any number of other enviro and control issues there, and this is another one.
When you mean stop sites, do you mean like stopping people at a post, at a place, and just saying...
Yes.
But so then they're probably trying to save money with not having gas to run around with the cars.
I don't know. I believe
more donut time too.
I believe that these sobriety stops have gone to the Supreme Court and they are legal. But it's as Tammy suggests, with this genetic thing in China, so often horrible policies that not just in this country but historically have started at a little bean of, oh, that doesn't seem so bad,
right?
And then they get expanded. I would expand on this. Here's an interesting one for, again, our state, which on one hand says it's so broke that we need to increase our gasoline costs and any number of things, taxes. But our state has just come up with really a cool idea. And I gotta love the big spender's ability to manipulate the English language. Here's the headline: First scholarships in Michigan available. Yeah, that sounds good. Everybody likes scholarships. First scholarships in Michigan available for early childhood care. Now, one might wonder, sup with that?
Yeah.
Well, as I wondered sup with that, I read a little more. On Thursday, this is incredible, state and two nonprofits announced the first statewide scholarship program to help families find and pay for quality child care. So what they're talking now, basically it's welfare, it's free money from this big vat of free money that's someplace near Lansing, I guess. Free money to give to people to hire babysitters, but they're calling it scholarships. I mean, why don't they call it gumbo or food? How about a bouquet of the child care help? So next time you hear the term scholarship, understand that it has been redefined to anything but
Babysitter.
scholarship.
Babysitter.
And that kind of goes to my point that we talked about before, is that people that see these different things and see these opportunities, why wouldn't they take them?
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to that.
Why wouldn't they embrace them? Because it's free.
Well, okay. We were talking about this a little off air, and Oscar's point was that there are so many things that people can get, and by things, monies or dispensations. For instance, if you are poor and you walk into a bar and you pop somebody in the nose, you might spend a half a day in jail. Probably not. But if you're rich, you're going to get sued. So poor people don't have to worry about liability insurance and things of that sort. We know
they have nothing. Yeah.
Well, we know that a significant portion of the people in the southeastern portion of our state don't have car insurance. Mm-hmm. And when they get pulled over, they may get a ticket, which they don't pay, we're finding out. Or if they live in Detroit, they may have property taxes due, and if they don't pay, it's no problem. Right. So, but the problem is when you make that switch from getting all of these things, and in this case, now you've got free, you get a scholarship.
That's right.
You get a scholarship for free health care. You're getting bridge cards, and you used to be able to get a $5 bonus. You spend it at the drink hall.
That's right.
You get, the county of Muskegon, which, by the way, has so much extra money that the county of Muskegon has gone out and spent, I think, $10,000 or $20,000 on providing little free cards to people that they can use to buy fruit and vegetables at the farmer's market. Did you know that?
No.
Where do I get it? Where do I sign up?
Well, you have a job. Get out of here. You work. You don't get one of these.
That's the problem. They're making it so you get comfortable accepting money that you do not want to go out and make the money yourself.
And it's not just comfortable, though, because as a single mom, I have 4 daughters, and they've been there, anyway, is that when you get into this habit of providing for your kids, and it's there for you with the government's help, and insurance, which is ridiculous if you have to take your kid in to get shots or whatever, it's really hard to wean away from that kind of thing and say, okay, I'm going to get a job making $10 an hour and maybe not even get insurance, and then I lose my insurance from welfare or wherever.
Right.
Well, your subsidized rent, or your insurance for your children.
So if I get a job,
or your bridge card,
I get a job, I'll live worse than I did when I was on food stamps, which makes no sense to me.
It's the system. The system is,
and it makes it almost impossible for people to make that jump back
exactly
to the opportunity that is offered here in the United States, and as we all know,
lack of opportunity sometimes in some cases.
Well, it may be lack of opportunity, but it used to be if you didn't work, you didn't eat. And we didn't have people starving. We had churches, we had other people taking care of it, and then people were encouraged to get out of that hole because it was very, very uncomfortable. There's some famous quote to which I can't
Benjamin Franklin, make them uncomfortable in their poverty.
I got it from you, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I did.
From your wonderful, wonderful column.
Right.
What's the comment or the quote?
Just paraphrasing, to make the poor uncomfortable in their poverty, to encourage them to work and provide for themselves. And if the private sector, like churches, helps, that's great. But when the government steps in and starts providing one thing after another, that's when we have a problem.
Chicken in every pot.
Yeah.
Like I say, if you talk to, like I talked to my grandmother and grandfather and stuff when they were in the Depression days, and seeing what they went through with the Depression, we really do have it quite well.
Oh, we do.
Right now.
We do.
Well, let me give you an example here. And there used to be something called shame or stigma at being a freeloader. Mm-hmm. Those days are long gone. But we had an event here just in this past week. And I'll start with the headline from MLive. Hundreds expected to attend Thurgood Marshall Job and Career Fair Expo on Tuesday, March 19th, just a few days ago. And this Career Expo was held at the Bishop William L. Burrell Multiplex Center on Sherman. The event was being sponsored by West Michigan Community Help Network. 11 employers will be shaking hands, interviewing candidates, taking applications. Billings, a gentleman who was behind this, estimates they will be hiring 100 to 200 job openings. Okay, now that seems like a pretty cool deal. It seems like essentially a grassroots event, primarily within the minority community. Just a couple days later, another headline: lack of job seekers, not jobs, haunts this year's Thurgood Marshall Job and Career Fair Expo. An underwhelming turnout of applicants, not a lack of companies with open positions, was the bane of this year's Career Expo. Only about 100 applicants walked through the doors. They'd predicted 700 would come. So what we have now is a society here in Muskegon and certainly in other parts of this country where people aren't really even interested, and in good measure, because the jump from being a ward of the state, essentially a ward of the state, to getting a real job just isn't that valuable. You might get a $12 an hour job, but when you subtract all the things that you lose by getting that job, you may end up only getting $2 net an hour. And we don't see anybody who apparently is interested in fixing that. And these people who are comfortable generation after generation after generation with not paying their fair share. You know, paying your fair share is a big word out there among a lot of folks. Well, we do know that 47 or 49% of the people who live in this country, their entire income comes from government in some form. Now, that also includes military pensioners. It includes government employee pensions. It includes Social Security people and things of that sort. But we are frighteningly close to having a majority of people who do not pay their fair share, who do not put money net in. And when they start voting, especially when we have situations now where we're going to be granting amnesty to millions upon millions of illegals who are going straight from Mexico to our welfare rolls in one form or another, is that going to be good for us in the long haul?
How about work their fair share?
Well, that doesn't appear to be interesting to a lot of their supporters. So we're going to be back after this break.
If you love food and your heart, go grocery shopping with me, Mon, short for monounsaturated fat.
And me, polyunsaturated.
We're the Better Fat Sisters. Over here in the cooking oil aisle, choose canola, olive, and other vegetable oils. Liquids are better for your heart than solid fats.
You'll also find us in fresh foods like avocados, nuts, and fish.
Before you put any baked goods, packaged, and prepared foods in your cart, read the labels.
Avoid our bad fats brothers, saturated and trans. They love to clog your arteries.
We're heart healthier, but let's face it, we're fats.
We all have the same 9 calories per gram, so watch your portions.
And thanks for shopping with us.
The Better Fat Sisters. Be kinder to your heart. Learn more and get recipes at heart.org/facethefats. Nationally sponsored by Canola Info.
Car number 7 is pulling into the pit.
What's my winning diabetes plan?
Start taking action now for diabetes.
Medications.
Got them. And my insulin supplies.
Exercise.
Most days.
Blood sugar level? On target.
Diet. Eating healthy.
A1C under control.
Managing diabetes, including controlling blood sugar, is a team effort that requires a plan that's right for you. For more information, visit standfordiabetes.org.
A public service of TCOYD made possible with support from Sanofi Aventis, U.S.
Hi, I'm Jenny Garth. Heart disease is something I live with every day. It runs in my family, and it took my dad's life. So I'm choosing to speak up, and so can you. Tell people how it's the #1 killer of women. Tell them 1 woman dies every minute from it, and that 80% of cardiac events in women may be prevented if you make the right choices today. Join American Heart Association's Go Red for Women. Speak up to save lives at goredforwomen.org.
The full moon lights the silver rails winding around dark mountains and over steep gorges of jagged rock and one freezing cold rushing black mountain river. I wish there was enough time to describe all of the funny twists and turns that led up to now, but there isn't enough time because there's a ticking clock and the 2 passengers we care most about don't know anything about it. To see what happens next, visit read.gov to read The Exquisite Corpse, a riveting adventure pieced together by John Sheska, Shannon Hale, Daniel Handler, and other popular authors. Explore new worlds. Read. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
I knew I had a problem.
I tried counting calories, eating and eating.
Nobody else could possibly understand.
We understand. We're Overeaters Anonymous, and we have helped thousands of people stop their compulsive eating and start living a healthy, rewarding life.
With OA, I am living again and loving it.
Start living the life you deserve with help from Overeaters Anonymous. Find us on the web at oa.org.
America had just gone to war when Felipe Adams volunteered.
I took a bullet to the side and left me paralyzed.
For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
For injured veterans like Felipe Adams, there are veterans like Armando de la Rosa ready to help.
Our training is to better the veteran.
Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. Visit PVA.org.
Okay, honey, go play. My son needed a medical imaging exam, but talk of radiation made me a little concerned. So I asked our doctor, how will this exam improve his care? Are there alternative tests that don't use radiation? Is the facility accredited for quality and safety? And will he receive a child-sized radiation dose? Our doctor told me, if you need a scan, the benefits outweigh any risk.
If you're concerned about radiation, ask your doctor and get the facts at imagegently.org.
This is Mike McCready, Pearl Jam's lead guitarist. For the last 24 years, I've been living with Crohn's disease, a chronic and often painful digestive disease. Luckily, I have my disease under control. But so many of the 1.4 million Americans living with Crohn's and a similar disease called ulcerative colitis live day to day not knowing when their disease will strike next. You can help by joining one of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's 130 Take Steps walks. Sign up today at cctakesteps.org. Take a step, register today.
They don't have to die, but they do. 24,000 children every day. My name is Orlando Bloom, and I believe that number should be zero. Believe in zero. Join the effort. Visit unicefusa.org.
If you even think you may be in danger of foreclosure, call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling today at 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. That's 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. This has been a public service from the NFCC.
It'll stay cloudy tonight, a low of 29 with northeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. It'll start off mostly cloudy tomorrow, then a chance of snow showers later in the day, a high of 39. And it looks like snow showers are possible on Tuesday as well, a high of 38. Looking ahead to Wednesday, once again, snow showers at times with a high of 38. News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
What's a lever action? What's a pump? What's an automatic? What's a bolt action? Hi, folks. I'm Tom Gresham, and I invite you to join me as we answer these and other questions on Gun Talk. Gun Talk is the only show out there about gun rights, collecting, personal defense, sport, and recreational shooting. And, of course, we never forget about safety on Gun Talk.
It's Gun Talk, Sunday afternoons at 3 on News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dadgum.
Hey, this morning is just zooming by, guys.
Very heavy.
Oh, yeah. And we got a phone call from one of our listeners. Thank you so much. I had misstated one of the liberal female Democrats' names when I was talking about the person who was promising to come up with more money. It was not Mary Valentine, who was not even elected to any position at this point, but it was Michigan State Representative Marcia Hovey Wright, who had promised to get money from the state of Michigan to help fill whatever hole that was perceived to be in the financing of this new farmers market. So if you're a big fan of more money for the farmers market, then give Marcia Hovey-Wright a call and thank her very much. If you're not such a big fan, you might want to call her and say, get out of my pockets. But if you're like most folks in Muskegon, you'll do neither, and I'm sure there's basketball on today.
There you go.
Hey, one thing I wanted to touch base on, the now newly announced retirement of Democrat Senator Carl Levin has a brother who's a very, very long time elected congressman in the state of Michigan, and he told MSNBC just this past week was the distance between the parties has really widened dramatically. It's hard to know how to deal with Republican extremism. He said, it's really disturbing. The extremism that has captured the Republicans in the House, I think, creates a gap that I think is very difficult to bridge. Now, the extremism that Congressman Sander Levin is referring to, of course, is the fact that Republicans, some of them anyway, seem to be outspoken about not wanting to spend money we don't have or borrow, which is really what's going on since we spend every penny we have, but about not wanting to borrow anymore. As a matter of fact, at some point, getting our financial mess in order. That is what is now called by leading Democrats, because Sander Levin is one of the most senior Democrats in all of Congress, and certainly he's the brother of one of the most senior senators in the United States Democrat Congress, that extremism, that balancing your budget is considered to be extremism. And with that in line, I'd like to mention a couple things that apparently are not extremism. This has just been reported. It's amazing. This is front page stuff in England. Vice President Joe Biden spent more than $1 million for 2 nights, 2 nights in hotels, one in London and one in Paris. $1 million, folks, for the Democrat Vice President of the United States to visit London and Paris. That's not extremism. The United States will pay $2 million, and this is a good investment, I think, if you like horses, $2 million so that inmates can teach wild horses to be gentle. The Department of Interior's Bureau of Labor and Management pay $2 million in taxpayer funds over 5 years so that prison inmates in Kansas, so I suppose if you like horses, do the dirty deed in Kansas, they're going to teach wild horses and burros, which are kind of cool. I think burros are kind of gentle to begin with. And the grant description reads, this program provides funding for the rehabilitation and positive animal husbandry work experience for inmates by allowing the inmates to train and care for wild horses and burros and preparing the animals for adoption. So, again, this is not extreme in any way.
This is proof positive that our media is controlled.
Well, I don't know. I think the fact that it's out there, that's good news. That although this was, I would imagine this is probably reported with some level of quaking of the knee and a certain element of glee on the person who wrote it. But there's more. Stop, folks. Wait, there's more. There's more. Here we got all these cutbacks. As a matter of fact, it was announced essentially that Muskegon County Airport, with its two flights a day, would do just fine without a tower filled with air traffic controllers, which is true. I mean, very few of them are sitting there looking out the windows. They're looking. If we can operate a drone in Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan from some guy sitting in Kansas, it seems like maybe we could handle these things from larger airports. But even though things are tight, and even though it's extreme to probably even talk about these things, there is an airport, which I don't have in front of me which one it was, but anyway, it's Evart, E-V-A-R-T, Municipal Airport, has 2 flights a day, 1 runway, 0 employees, and 5 likes on its Facebook page, yet the federal government spent $150,000 on the airport in 2012, and while the state and local taxpayers spent thousands more. Again, there is no cutting. Any cutting that would be suggested in spending would be extreme. Michigan road funding, of course, we're told by our betters that Michigan road funding is there's not enough money out there, so we're going to have to increase your gas taxes. Well,
Road signs?
What's that?
So the road signs?
The road signs, yeah. What did we spend? $3 million, $6 million?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's Lapeer
County, which is on, it's either I-75 or I-96, but $3 million on the road signs. New York has got the Jimmy Fallon tax credit, a special tax credit, which is going to be, I guess, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to move Jimmy Fallon. In other words, the good taxpayers in New York State are going to pay for that. But here's my favorite. This is March Madness week. Nancy Pelosi. Now remember, this is one of the most powerful women in the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world. Nancy Pelosi, when asked about who's your favorite basketball team, are you a big basketball fan? Nancy Pelosi said, sports fans across the country have filled out their March Madness brackets, but not Nancy Pelosi. She's no fan of the whole winner-loser part of sports. The NCAA tournament may be the pinnacle of college athletic competition, but she says she is March mad and addicted to basketball, but she doesn't want anybody to lose, and she's just rooting for everyone. So she's a real big fan, and she's got to be horribly consternated because of the reality that some do lose in this event. Folks, thanks so much. Don't forget the audio and the video now of Eye on Muskegon show is on EyeOnMuskegon.com. We post it in the afternoon. Don't forget to listen to Renegade River Show at noon. And thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Oscar. We'll be back again next week. We're never ending. We do the homework. We do all the reading. We try to do some of the analysis for you so that you don't have to do it yourself. You can have a good life. You can go live and enjoy yourselves. We're out there marching through the web, marching through the newspapers, trying to get those little bits of information that will keep you from being an extremist. You have a great weekend, folks.
This is Mike McCready, Pearl Jam's lead guitarist. Join me and help transform the lives of the 1.4 million Americans living with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Sign up today for one of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's Take Steps walks at cctakesteps.org.
We've got all these credit card bills. We've got to find a way to get out from under this debt.
The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has been helping people for 60 years. Speak with a counselor at 800-388-2227 or visit debtadvice.org. This is a public service campaign for the NFCC.
24,000 children die every day from preventable causes. My name is Liam Neeson, and I believe that number should be 0. Believe in 0.
Join the effort. Visit.
The Talk of Muskegon is News Talk 1090 WKBC Muskegon and heard 24 hours a day on WOOD HD2 Muskegon.
This is WKBC Muskegon and WOOD HD2 Muskegon.
Sunday morning and welcome to the Polka Melodies. I'm Tom Sanaki, your West Michigan polka DJ. It's Sunday, March 20th.